Good evening. Welcome to our When to Trade webinar session for today. Thanks for joining me this evening. So just give me a short info that voice and audio and video is running fine so that you can see and hear me over there. Maybe in the chat, short okay, would be nice to see that everything is going smooth. Yeah, sounds good. Otherwise, just drop me a note if we're missing something. So I'm watching the chat section here on the left. So feel free to drop any questions or topics in the chat. I mean, this should be also a kind of question and answer session. So I would really like to see your questions. So let's have it an interactive session. Yeah, today I've prepared something in the first section. I want to talk a little bit about the latest developments on the markets and especially explain a little bit more background on how to use cycles and what is the cycles parade, because we had this in the markets during the last months, and I want to review that because I think that's an important background information we all need to understand when analyzing cycles with the analyzer. So that's the first session, about 15-20 minutes reviewing that. And in the second half of the session, I will showcase a real new feature which is coming to the Cycle Toolbox, which allows you to connect almost any application directly to the cycle scanner. So I know that you're all looking for connecting NinjaTrader, TradeStation, whatever application you're running on. And we have a new feature we call streams, where we push all your data from your application directly in the scanner. So you don't need to do anything within your application. It's quite easy. Doesn't matter what time frame you're on, doesn't matter what symbol you're on. So if you're running this analysis in your own platform, you can leverage the full power of the cycle tools. I think this will be released next week, and I give you a quick preview here at the end. This will be really cool. Okay, yeah, that's just to set the scene for today. Let me show you something about where we left 4 weeks ago. So I will just select the screen to share. So I've prepared some slides I want to go through with you. Do you remember 4 weeks ago, we have sat here together exactly in this session. And this was the live screen. Just need to organize a little bit here my windows. This was the live window we saw on the 28th of August. We did a basic cycle analysis on the S&P 500, showcased the new setting, and this was just the 172 bar cycle at this point in time. I mean, couldn't it be better? I mean, we all know what happened. So, and I just recall this not because this was a good analysis, because the cycle with the length of 170 something days is visible since the beginning of this year. And if you have watched different videos or sessions I did during this year, I was always referred to this cycle of the length of 172 bars. And there's even more behind. So I'm not just curious about this setting here, but there's a lot of more behind at the end of August, which was going on in the markets and even analyzing cycles. And that's why I want to visit some important stuff here. So, and let's start a little bit with Dewey and his. I just remind this as this is one of the main publications with the cycles, the mysterious forces that trigger events. It's hard to get a copy of this publication, but if you see a chance to get this book, it's worth a read. I think it was written 1970 something. One of his last publications, but there's so much in it which is really important up to today. And I will show some things here. And I have the document here. So if you're interested in this book, maybe drop me a private email and I can see what I can do to share this. Because one of his main findings findings was, and this is just one important setting here. His most important finding is this synchrony of cycles. So there was a time in 1971 where he asked himself, are we just playing with numbers? Or all this cycle analysis, even what we are doing with the cycle tools, is this just playing with numbers? I mean, and then when this is then what he wrote, when he looked more and more on the individual cycles, he discovered, and just remember, I showed you one cycle with a length of 170 something bars. It's just playing with numbers. I mean, it becomes more important that the ultimate clue, which Dewey also said, was discovered when there's a synchronity, which means that all cycles of the same length tend out to turn at the same time. So, and I always refer to that. It's always often phrased as cycles within cycles, but here in this specific view, it's meant, so if you see on different markets, like different indices, cycles with the same length coming in alignment. In alignment means they are now then going with the same phase. In most cases, even if you see the same length, they are kind of out of phase. Yeah, you mean then one market has a top if you do a cycle analysis, another market has a low, so they are not in synchrony. And that's in most cases, that's the time they are not going in synchrony if you analyze different cycles. But there might come then points in time when these cycles with the same length walk in the same phase. So phase is the meaning if the cycles, the tops and the lows align on the same time period. And that's even the finding from Dewey. So that's not my finding, but this is often not documented or not read. In most cases, you don't go down to whatever mathematical algorithm, but the key is to check, is this cycle also valid in other markets with the same length? And it does not mean you need to have the same correlated data. So it can be completely independent data sets. But if you find the same cycle with the same length and the same phase coming into play, then these are the important rhythms and the important turning points which get more and more interesting. Why do I repeat this kind of stuff here? That's so true up to today. So that's just one sentence. The book is fascinating for itself. So because I even posted this on our forum here, because this is cyclosynchrony, and I think, yeah, this was just a screenshot. I was on a hurry, so I didn't have time to really comment on that. I just pushed it to our blog here, because here you see it. I mean, different main indices, all around the same length here. Yeah, so going down 166, 66, 68, 76. So all the cycle, what I said, around 170. That's why I said even observing this cycle since February, but now the phase has come into alignment for all these markets. Yeah, so this is the top departure, downtrend stating, top departure, top arrival, top departure, uptrend and bottom departure. I mean, you know, the VIX is vice versa. Yeah, so a bottom departure in the sentiment indices is the same as a top departure in the main indices. I mean, this is cycle synchrony. I think it was end of August 19. Yeah, it's written here. So this was seen at the end of August. So therefore, I always refer. I mean, we have just looked, I think, in our session on the S&P, and we've seen the cycle with a length of 170 something, and the top departure. And it's always high risk if you just analyze one data set and just have one cycle. This is a static forecast. This is what I always say. Be careful with that. But this is what Dewey told us in the 1970s already. Look out for the cyclosynchrony. And I mean, this was the point in time, and I think around August, mid-August, end August, why I moved out to a lot of media and also sessions to talk about this cycle with the 170. And now the next question is, I know this, how to trade this kind of information, because it's also good to see the cycle analysis. And I know that then often comes the question, okay, but how do I put this forward into trading ideas? And that's the next challenge, because trading this kind of stuff is the next challenge, because I mean, we all have different risks, trading instruments, whatever. But one important also takeaway from today is that, and I will share you that, so we have a high confidence that cycles are in a parade, that we are expecting a top in major markets, but how do I time this from a day-to-day perspective? Yeah, so we don't know when the turn will take place. And I think at this point in time here, end of August, I mean, the markets just boomed up, and I think the major financial institutions, they hired their targets for everything. I mean, it was a crazy period. But cycles are leading indicators, so that's always interesting. So you have leading stuff. But okay, let's now get back to the question, how to use then this information for trading. Yeah, and I will share one research finding, which is also not from me. So I will just put in other knowledge here in this session. This is from Fidelity. And they have also written an article about business cycles, I think last year, so it's not too old. And they have analyzed, I think, 50 years of history. So they have analyzed the last 50 years of market behavior. And they have checked at these kind of, here on the top are the cycle phases. They are just called different than we talk about it. So these are rebounds, peak, moderates, and contracting. So this is the classical cycle phase. So these are the phases of a cycle here. And they have analyzed how the different areas, financial assets behave during different main cyclic phases, and they have researched that different areas in the market behave different according to different phases in the cycle. So and that's why it's important that if you just have the broad S&P 500. Then it's hard to time from a day-to-day basis, because the individual areas will behave different. And if we just look at the peaking phase, because I showed you from our this cycles parade and the 170 cycle, which have really come into alignment on all markets at end of August, this is where you look for this peaking period. Yeah? So we know by end of August, okay, we are coming into this peak of this cycle here. And what you see that in these kind of phases, that information technology is still a plus here. Set at cycle, so at cycle peaks, information technology will still continue to move higher, while consumer materials and utilities always start to turn down. So you see which areas turn down more early at cycle peaks, and which areas will turn down more lately at these cycle peaks. And this is quite interesting information. So if you see this peaking from the cycle analyzer, you see this peak in the markets, which we did end of August, then you should look at, okay, we should be aware of that technology and even communication services. So there are the 2+ here, will still continue to go up and may then turn down a little bit later than the theoretical peak. Why other areas like utilities should turn down more early in this market. So, and I also recommend, I mean, you can see the source here. Yeah. So I can also copy it into the chat so that you can, that's a more larger article here. So I will just copy the link directly in the chat here, so you can look it up. I just recommend to read this, because this is just the picture from this article here. So, and by knowing this kind of stuff, so this is when you look then on the chart, and I think this is the period here on the left. So it's okay, what do we see here? So in the middle, it's the S&P 500. So that's a broader index. On the top, we will see the information technology. And at the bottom, that's the S&P 500 utilities index. Yeah. So, and you see, I think we did this analysis here at end of August. Yeah, between these two lines here, this analysis was made. And this is what happened. Utilities, you see here, already turned down. I mean, they even did not follow the upturn in total here. But then at 7th of August, they started already to go lower here, while the technologies still continue to push up. And in the S&P 500, where you have all these mixed information here, you won't see the turn here. But and this is then another confidence that you see, okay, we have the S&P 170 something days. We have the cycles parade where all cycles have aligned themselves. We know from other research that here from Fidelity that some areas will turn earlier and some areas will turn later at cycle peaks. You know, it's not always the same. It depends on the cycle phase, but we are in a peaking phase. So we should not be chaos or chaotic. Oh, the techs are still going up, but you can see, yeah, but the utilities turned already. And this is exactly, this is also 50 years of research here. So this is not a one-time chart for 1 or 2 cycles. They analyzed, I think, 50 years of how cycle behavior in different areas. So this is the combination you need to do. I just share this because it's not just looking at the cycle scanner at one index and look for a high and low. If you see these kind of alignments, yeah, different data sets. So I always combine the sentiment, like the VIX data with the market data. Then you see other markets coming into play. There's cycles parade, and combine this with, for example, this knowledge here. I mean, there are other ideas out there. This is then how you can play these cycles. So you can, I would not short information technology at peaks before they turn. So that's the lessons learned here. You can go short, not on the S&P 500, but for example, in the utilities area. You can start to go short at these peaks, even if the overall market goes higher. So, and this is what happened end of October. And I think we all know that by beginning of September, all markets have then moved down. So, I mean, we will see how it plays out. But that's why I want to revisit this kind of market situation during August, because this is the knowledge you need to combine. So therefore, it's not always looking on the static cycle. Please go into this kind of stuff from Dewey. Yeah. So I will share some seconds some additional knowledge on that. And if you ask about how cycles parade, yeah, this is a very, very hard to find a topic. You can look for cycles parade in the Forex market. So if you use different Forex pairs, pound against the euro, US dollar against the euro, Japanese yen against the euro. So you look for different Forex pairs and see if in these different pairs, the same cycle is detected via length, and then also is getting an alignment from its phase. Then you have a cycle parade in Forex. It's very simple to monitor different Forex pairs. You can do the same in the cryptocurrency market. So you can chart different cross currencies in the cryptocurrency market. So there you can watch out for cycles parade in cryptocurrency. So I think this is what I would recommend. And that's why I have set up the market pulse, that you quickly check different symbols in different markets, just a quick view, and then you zoom in with the cycle scanner on more details. Okay, yeah, that's said up front. That's another topic from Dewey. I've copied this out of the book because, okay, let's close the cycle parade topic. Let's now talk about, kind of cycle inversion. Maybe you have heard of it. Often it's when you have a cycle projection, and then the market behaved exactly the opposite, like the cycle projection. It's kind of mystery of cycles anyhow. For me, it's a kind of excuse because you just did your analysis wrong, and then you kind of try to excuse yourself. It's an inversion. But I will come to that in a minute. And you also hear about that cycles disappear. Yeah, you always know that cycle is gone, and then the cycle reappears. I mean, I could recall it from modern analysis, but I just use what Dewey did in 1970 something, because this is valid up to today, this information. Therefore, I like this old chart here. So what did he do? So I can also reference the page in a second here. So here down below, you see a cycle, this D here. I think this is 5.99 years or whatever. So this is the cycle you observe in the market. If you just look at 1890 something here. So you would see this the cycle D in the market. So, and then the cycle kind of disappears here at shortly before 1900, disappears totally, kind of zeroing out, and then reappears 1920 something here. But this is not the real cycle which was active in the market. Yeah. So, and this depends on how you analyze cycles in data sets, because what was happening in the markets have been three cycles: the cycle A, the cycle B, and the cycle C. So A is a 4.8 years cycle, B is a 5.5 year cycle, and C is a 6.07 year cycle, with different phases here. And you know, I mean, if you overlay these cycles in a cycle composite, thanks, the page is already in there, you need to plot the composite. And this is exactly what D here is. D is just the composite of three individual cycles. So therefore, D is not a cycle of its own, because it looks like, this composite looks like a cycle on its own. Yeah. So D looks like this is one cycle. It's not. It's a composite out of three cycles. And these three cycles at this point in time here, shortly before 1900, the sum of all these three cycles just result in averaging out. That's kind of similar to noise cancellation. You know, when you put the same cycle with the complete opposite phase, then it's canceling out. So therefore, this cycle has not disappeared. If you just look at cycle D, you just don't know how to analyze the data set, and you have not discovered the cycles which are active in these markets. And that's why I refer that our cycle scanner is so important, because you need to look on the individual cycles which are active, and then use the Bartle score, use the strengths to look for the top 3 to maximum top 5 cycles from the cycle scanner to build a composite here. So that you really don't fall into the trap. So, and if you don't use professional cycle analysis tools, then maybe someone will find this cycle just from looking at the chart. Yeah, measuring the chart. Yeah, I see the cycle with 5.9 years. Yeah, it's clearly visible. You see it here, and then sometime it disappeared. And this is the inversion here. It comes back with exactly the opposite phase here. So someone would tell you that there's a cycle inversion which took place, but it did not. The one who was referring to the cycle D just don't know how to analyze this data set. Yeah, and I recall this because I like all these old stuff from Dewey, which I really recommend. I think, Christian, you mentioned a little bit here the reference. I also have the document here. I mean, please reach out to the internet. I've shown you the title of the book. Maybe there's a copy available at Amazon, an old copy. On the foundation, we are working to make this book available again as a reprint, but this might take some time. And if you don't know where it is, you can also reach out to me via private email, or if someone has a kind of reference, let's maybe exchange this privately. If recalled, I'd highly recommend this kind of documentation. Okay, yeah, this was something from the past, but just mentioning that all this knowledge is still valid up to today. So now let's move on. Okay, what's next? I mean, this is a kind of insight seminar. What's next with the cycle analysis? And I know that you are all looking for connecting your individual applications, Linear Trader, TradeStation, whatever, use different time frames, minute chart, weekly chart, 5-minute chart, whatever. So I will give you a preview what will show up in just days away. I just need to boot my development instance here. Give me a second. Yeah, while I will boot up, I will just share something different so that you will not waste your time. Because it all starts with your individual trading application. So for this example here, I will just use now TradeStation, but it will work in any other platform later on. What I've pulled up here is just a I think it's a Bitcoin. Yeah, it's a Bitcoin chart, 1 minute. I mean, we have Saturday, but here we have real-time data still on Saturday. So it's the Bitcoin US dollar 1 minute chart. Yeah, just check. So the real-time feed is still running. So we here have the real-time feed 1 minute data on Bitcoin US dollar, just for demonstration. I mean, just to have some real data here. And what you all want to do is now you want to do this cycle analysis with this data set and not upload your data on cycle tools and export to ZSV, import, and do all this manual conversion. So we've simplified that. And therefore I will now start I hope this all works live while streaming. So I will just ramp up the demo version here, all on my machine to show it to you. Because what we will do next is we will connect the individual, in this case, TradeStation chart here to our Cycles toolbox. And then we connect it so that we directly stream your data into the application. So give me a second. Okay. Though I will now switch the screen. You've seen I've running here kind of live chart. I just need to switch to a different screen now. So what will show up here is this new feature called My Streams. Yeah. So now you know that with my data sets, you can upload like static data sets, yeah, import, export, whatever, analyze it. But with My Streams, you can do a kind of live connection, yeah, between what runs on your local machine and the cycle analyzer in the cloud, and it will update even tick by tick. I mean, it's near real time because the data needs to be pushed through the cloud, but it's milliseconds. Okay, so to utilize this My Streams session, I will just click on it. And now it shows you what is connected to your cloud instance. Yeah, it's Bitcoin 24/7, right? So what I will switch back in a second. So we will use Bitcoin US dollar chart, 1 minute chart, 24/7 real-time stream and TradeStation. This is a live stream. So this is no simulation. And we will do this is all live. It will show up in the Cycles platform, I think, during the next 2 weeks. So it's not there yet. It's just here on my local, but it's more or less ready. So I will show you how it works. And during the next week, it will show up here. So to connect your stream here, I will now switch back to TradeStation to show you what needs to be done to connect it. Where's my TradeStation here? Okay. Okay, so now we are here back now on TradeStation, because the only thing you need to do is to add a pre-built study. It's a very simple one, but I will not go into the study now. It's just a simple show me. I've called this here up data stream. Press OK. There's nothing you need to set up. Yeah, it's just now ensuring that it connects now on the back. Yeah, it's okay. It should work. So it's just checking what happens with the stream here. It's kind of frozen. Ah, yeah, now it's coming back. Okay. Yeah, I think my machine is now at the edge. But what I did simply is I just loaded up one show me. You don't need to configure anything. Sorry, you need to configure something. You need to put in your RP key. So this indicator comes with the kind of setting window. So it's a kind of the trading app, but the only thing you need to put in here is your RP key. That's it. And then you open the indicator, and this ensures that in the background, this data is now also live streamed to our cycle tools. So we just keep this running, and I now will switch to our cycle toolbox. So where we see we have the Bitcoin US dollar 1 minute chart. This is your username, and we will now open this as a chart. And you see here's one new feature. I will now activate the live mode. Yeah, so now it's streaming activated. And we will now see that by each minute, new data will flow in. I mean, we just need to wait a minute. We have, you see it here, we have, here's the data, 23:1. You see it also here down below. The last bar is 8 o'clock, 3:1. And now we need to wait until the bar finishes, and we will see just live in this chart here that it refreshed. So now a new bar has just rushed in. So we see here. So it's now trending. The new bar is in, and it updates just with a blink of an eye. So the whole cycle analysis, the cycle scanner, the dominant cycle, all has activated while this new data has just rushed in. We can just monitor it here in parallel, that with the new bars closed, everything will get in here. So you can open how much charts you like in TradeStation. So you can open 5 minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, daily. You can open different symbols, don't mind, and you would open then different tabs, yeah, for each of your charts in TradeStation or NinjaTrader or whatever. And you can see then always the active cycle. So I would not be able to bring this into TradeStation or NinjaTrader, because this is much more information we see here on the screen than just one indicator in your favorite charting application. Yeah, you've seen it. It's just one bar which has been closed, and it's just updating here live. So I will just keep it open. This is now connected live, and every time a new bar closes in the application, this analysis is updated here. So you can then, do your composite cycle analysis. I mean, you know how it works. This is the basic uses, but instead of having stating upload, you can, have a kind of live connections here. It will be open. So I can show you this also in a second. The code is no secret. I will show you that in a minute. And as it is so simple, it's really easy to write the same show me your indicator for NinjaTrader here. I've just started to bring in also TradeStation. I think we have not connected it in the past. So therefore, I think it would be interesting to have also, you've seen now another bar has closed, and it's all updating here in real time. So we've really kept an eye on make it high efficient. There's a low footprint of data which is transferred over the net. So it's just updating. You can close it. You don't need to watch it live. So if you lose connection or switch the chart or do something different in between, so then you can always go back to my streams, open it again, and it will always update to the latest data it has, because you keep it running, activate live mode, and then it will follow up again. So even if you lose connection or reload the chart here, it will always sync back to your application. And you don't need to run it locally. I mean, you have your TradeStation locally, but this, you just open a browser and you will see it there. I will just wait one other. Yeah, I think you've seen, sometimes you need to read it, but now we have the next bar in. And as it is so fast, it's just some milliseconds, all the active cycles and the cycle spectrum has all updated. We just don't see it because it's so quick and happening in real time. So with this feature, you can have any symbol, any time frame. You don't need to deal with export, import. It's connected real time. So you just need some more monitors to do that. Let me show you for a second, because there was the question, will it be open easy language course. Yes, it will be open, and I can share. I give you just a look at it within TradeStation to explain a little bit how it works, because this is not hidden. Yeah, let's switch back to TradeStation to show a little bit more background info on that. Here. Okay, so what we can do, we can open easy language. I will just keep it running, and then we can revisit in a second to see if everything works. You don't see, okay, I need to switch now also to easy language editor. This one, okay. So here you have the easy language editor, and this was the show me. Here's the show me. So it will be open anyhow. So so it's just a initialization, and it consists of more or less. The simple one is there are two versions. Once the history of the data is uploaded into the cloud, so it just runs once. But if you see, it's just generating a JSON string, and it's just then posting this information to the web. So it's very simple. It's just generating the data based on the on your chart, whatever is in there, and it's then posting the data up to the cloud. This is happening once, and by each new closed bar, it will then post the last two bars with generation, post stream update to the cloud, and the function which is just doing these are the utility methods. One utility method which is generating the string, but that's it. Just some string building here. It's very simple. And once this string is available, it will just use your AP key and then use a web client. So it's a standard post web request and pushing this information to a standard web address here. So, and even the web address is, in this case, it's still the local one, but it's then an open endpoint API stream, submit stream data, which will be available for every user who has API access or a licensed version. So I think the code is quite standard cloud computing with some simple post messages, and this can be used from any application. So therefore, I will also transform this into a kind of NinjaTrader, and also multi-charts was requested. So I think it's not too complicated, and you can even do more complicated stuff. You can push over indicator data. Yeah, you can analyze cycles in your favorite secret indicators you have on TradeStation running. So the limits are again then more or less endless. That's just the simple version to pull over the data here. Yeah. So let's switch back to the Cycles platform, and hopefully it still updates. It's just live session, so let's see. Here is the data, and we have 23.9. So the data stream is still working. You see it here down below. Yeah, this is the current time, and I will just keep the cursor there to see that it should update again in 1 or 2 seconds. So you can watch the screen then uploading the Bitcoin 1 minute data here. Yeah, let's have a look at the A39. When the minute finished, we will see the next bar, and then I'll close the discussion here. Yeah, you also asked about kind of, they've seen, okay, the next bar is in there, analysis updated, low in there, so it's still working. So you can do whatever you want. You can go back to your live stream and you will steal all cycles. I mean, you know what you can do with this kind of stuff. Now use the dominant cycle to tune your indicators. So you will have different indicators on your TradeStation chart. So now you know every minute what the dominant cycle is. So you can bring back this information to TradeStation and adjust your indicators, the RSI or whatever indicator you use. Use the dominant cycle to tune your indicators. So every minute you get updated information on how to tune your indicators. I mean, how cool is that? But okay, I hope you will create a lot of ideas what you can do with this. I will follow up for sure. This is just the basic information on how it works. Again, it will show up during the next 2 weeks. Once you see this new symbol here in my settings, you should be aware what it is. It's called My Streams, and then you can connect it and look out for in the docs.cycle.tools. There will be the documentation on that. I will still fine tune its kind of beta pilot phase, so let's monitor it how it works. Okay, yeah, you asked about local version. Let's differentiate. So the TradeStation or whatever is still for sure your local version. This has nothing to do with Rent to Trade. You just need then to pull up kind of Show Me or Linear Trader. It's a linear script, which will you pull up locally. And then open just a browser, means running in the cloud to see the analysis. I know that there are also some users which are hitting the API 20,000 times an hour because you're doing some back testing and pushing the API. So, and this is hard to do with a cloud-based version because we also have limits on it. So we have threshold to ensure that it's available for everyone. And it's a pain for you then moving out into the cloud with every request. So yes, we will provide a local version of our API, which means if you're running then an Linear Trader and the other tools locally, that you can also run our cycle analysis engine locally on your computer. But this refers to the API endpoints. So if, for example, if you use the dominant cycle script in Linear Trader or other platforms, you know, it reaches out to the cloud version, brings back the information, plots this on your local instance, and we will provide you with a local running version. So just run it locally. You don't need to rush out into the cloud for the cycle analysis then. But this is on the roadmap. It's not released yet, so I would expect that it will show up this year. I don't know, in early November, late December, I don't know. So I think you can expect it this year until the end of the year, but it needs a little bit more fine tuning. And yeah, I need to make it secure because, you know, once this is available locally, it will be available all over the world in the internet. So, and that's why we need to a little bit protect our intellectual property. Yeah. Okay, that's more or less it for today. I wanted to give you again, just to recap in the beginning, just remind ourselves, it's not only the cycle analysis, it's not only the tool, it's not only the one cycle you see. Please revisit Dewey's work. I've referenced one work where I highly recommend a search for the PDF, or let's discuss privately. Maybe we can share it here in our community. Think about cycle synchrony. Think about, depending on your time period you're interested in. If you do intraday trading, watch out for cycle synchrony, maybe on the 2-hour chart on different pairs you're watching. If you're interested in Bitcoin, so think about which time frames, think about what data might be interesting, look out for synchrony, cycle synchrony on these time frames. Then you will really be good to go. And yeah, and I think it will become more and more easy for you to connect your favorite tools. Because this is where I wanted to get, because I can't bring all this information from the scanner into each charting platform. But with this, guys, we see all information around cycles on your browser, and you can then pull back whatever you want in your charting application. This is what I always wanted to have, and it's now running on my machine, and it will become to you also. Yeah, so I'm happy for the next 10 minutes if you want to discuss something or push some questions in the chat. I hope you will like this kind of new features. I mean, in our last session, we have talked about the new profiles and the different ways to configure the chart analysis. So there we have also improved lots. So yeah, let's watch the markets. I think the market's turned. So that's on the daily time frame. It's my favorite time frame. Get your synchrony. Think about for yourself, please, on Synchrony of Cycles, what this means to your local setting. Yeah, and watch out for the next week for my stream, so you're the first to know what this means. Thanks. I really like joining me. I also think about making this more interactive to bring you also in the room. So I don't know what you think about it, but I mean, mainly I'm talking here. I see lots of colleagues also then now showing up again and again, and maybe we can also talk to each other in the next sessions here if you want to show up. So please drop me a note privately also before our next session if you want to be part of this and you want to share something in this group. You're welcome. So drop me a note and I'm happy to bring you in the session for the next month. So see you by end of September, October. Yeah, end of October we will have the next session. And have a nice weekend. See you. Talk to you soon. Bye.